Hello everyone. On this channel, I feel that information about what is happening in China is often not correctly conveyed to countries other than China, so I will be disseminating the information I have gathered in English. I'm getting information from multiple media, so I'd be happy if you could comment on the content of the video. Also, English is not my native language, so I use an AI speaker to create the voice to convey the information correctly. Today, I would like to talk about how modern China has become a caste-based society in a sense. One story that has received particular attention in China this year is the serious problem of unemployment among young people. It has been noted that children and grandchildren often work in the same workplace when their parents have stable jobs. Specifically, it is a story that quasi-civil servant jobs are hereditary. There is an article about 3 generations of a family holding an iron bowl. In Japanese, I refer to my work as meal seeds, but in China, I use the word tea bowl. The expression rice seed is used to describe a very stable occupation. Specifically, it is a quasi-civil servant job such as a civil servant or a state-owned company. In China, this has been called the iron bowl for a long time. And it is actually a common case in China that 3 generations of a family have a stable job. However, there are also stories that have been criticized for being unfair during times of job shortages. By the way, even in China, the fact that one's ancestors have been in the same profession for generations usually has a good meaning. For example, there are families of doctors and families of performing arts. They are a family line that has been passed down and are recognized as professionals. It's just that it's not made up of taxes, and you have to earn income with your own ability. Therefore, such a family line is respected, but it is strange that children and grandchildren are working in the same place as civil servants or quasi-civil servants. If this happened by chance through fair hiring, no problem. But if it's civil servants or semi-civil servants, it's very stable. People want these jobs, and the competition is fierce. Therefore, it is very difficult to get such a job. In China, there is a reality that it is possible to get a job in an organization that is usually difficult to get a job if you have connections. And the biggest element of that connection is the blood relationship. In other words, if your parents or grandparents are executives of state-owned enterprises, you can get a job through the back door. By the way, there is strong criticism about the backdoor employment of civil servants. It is natural that people are criticized because they want to be, and they are ostensibly regulated. However, in the case of Communist Party cadres, the reality is that they want their children and relatives to get jobs through the back door, rather than letting them compete in the same way as others. Even if the Communist Party asks for fair jobs, it will not go away because it does the same thing itself. However, since civil servants are subject to public scrutiny, it is problematic to spread the rumor that his parents got him a job because he was an executive of the Communist Party. That's why I think it's done as inconspicuously as possible. However, with respect to state-owned enterprises, the discretion of the company is considered to be large. I would like to introduce some examples of people who have been working at various state-owned companies since their grandfather's generation. Take Henan as an example. In China, there is a saying hereditary 3 generations. This refers to cigarette manufacturers. In China, cigarette manufacturers are state-owned enterprises, but smoking is still considered a means of communication. In China, when you meet someone, you hand over your cigarette to them and ask them to take a puff. Therefore, Chinese tobacco companies are stable and the salaries are not bad. It means that there are people who work for 3 generations of parents and children in a delicious company. Of course, it is thought that he entered the company using his connections. It is a story that people who are having trouble finding employment are dissatisfied. And it is said that Liaoning has the 3 generations of iron. This iron refers to railroads, not steel. China's railways currently have many deficit lines, but they are being maintained by injecting funds as public infrastructure. Therefore, those who work for railway companies are also considered a stable occupation. If you search for articles like this on Chinese websites, you'll find plenty of them. Let's look at another example. This February article is about Wuhan. The title of the article read, 21 members of a family of 3 generations work for a railway company. This article is a fact that has been revealed in the materials that the company has made open. The company does not try to hide this fact. As an aside, China is sometimes said to be a face-to-face culture. There is such a thing as openly doing bad things that other people would not be allowed to do. For example, when you go to a restaurant, there are places where you are not allowed to bring your dog. However, they bring their dogs to such places. However, if the person is a government official or a member of the dark forces, the restaurant can't say anything. It's very annoying, but this is also a way of showing face in China. In other words, in China, as long as you have power, it's okay to do obviously bad things, which has the meaning of showing the size of that person's face. So, instead of secretly doing bad things, there is a way of thinking in China that dares to show off and show that I'm okay with doing this. This way of thinking is not only on a personal level, but also appears in government-to-government relations and international relations. To get back to the point, I don't even try to hide that I can do anything because I am supported by strong stakeholders. Perhaps it is because of this awareness that companies open up about the fact that many people from the same family are employed by state-run companies. This means that even if many people find out about it in the end, they will be fine and have nothing to fear. Working in the same place for 3 generations means that not only railways and cigarettes, but also power companies, banks, salt companies, etc., are state-owned companies that do delicious work that will never go bankrupt. This phenomenon is widespread. I'll explain what happens to those who don't have delicious connections. In the past, there were only a few people who graduated from university in China, so there was a time when people who graduated from university could get a job. However, now that many people are graduating from university, it is becoming very difficult to carve out a path for yourself based on your academic background. As I explained this time, people are hired through connections, which makes it difficult for ordinary people to find a job, and people with connections have an advantage when it comes to advancing in the company. This is the Chinese Communist Party itself. For example, Xi Jinping also entered the Communist Party organization when he was a newcomer, but since his parents are senior executives, he started from an advantageous position. The Chinese Communist Party itself is an organization that allows you to wear clogs through your parents' connections. Even if the Communist Party declares that it should be fair and just in regards to employment and promotion, it will become a dead letter because they do not follow it. People inside the Communist Party try to accommodate their children, grandchildren, or people with whom they have a close relationship, so people without connections cannot get promoted. So my identity is fixed. In the past, if you worked hard at your studies, you had the chance to open up your own life, but now if your parents were farmers, your children and grandchildren will always be farmers. This is because the nature of the government that governs the country permeates society as it is. In today's China, not only the Chinese Communist Party, but also companies are run by hereditary rulers at the top. Some of Japan's large companies are run by families, but this is different from China's state-owned companies, which are hereditary controlled by some influential people. If only children and grandchildren are assigned to important posts, the company may decline. If you don't educate them properly, the whole company may be in danger, so you should be responsible for corporate governance. However, there are many zombie companies in China's state-owned enterprises, so the organization as a whole is in the red. There are a lot of zombie companies that can't go bankrupt even if the managers are bonkers, so it's a story that a mere hereditary interest is born. Executives of state-owned enterprises are also executives of the Communist Party, so they use public money to protect their interests without regard to profitability, so the Chinese economy was destined to decline someday. The decline may have visibly accelerated in the wake of the zero-corona policy. That's all for now. See you next time.